Today we're talking to St Albans City manager Ian Allinson at Clarence Park, where St Albans City have gone down to a 1-0 defeat to Truro City in National League South. It tightens up the promotion race with it must be about 9 clubs now pushing for a playoff position. Is the game, Ian, had we got the result we wanted, we would have put a nice cushion between ourselves and the chasing pack. But did we deserve a win?
Probably not, David. I think over the 90 minutes they did a job first half. They got lots of bodies behind the ball and frustrated the living daylights out of us, I felt. But I didn't think we really started that well. I didn't think we really got to grips with the game. I don't think we really got to grips with the performance was flat, and it really took us to sort of 30 minutes into this, or 20 minutes into the second half before we really started to get going again, and that's when we created some chances. But unfortunately, we didn't create much at all today. And to be fair to them, they didn't really create much at all. It was quite a stalemate at times, and probably a 0-0 would have been a fair result.
In that first half, we seemed to be tip-tapping around a lot. Then when we did hit the ball long, we overhit it so many times. The second half, we did, as you say, show a bit more urgency, put a bit more pressure on them, but they defended extremely well and we couldn't open them up.
Well, we spoke about it at length before the game, about them getting in front, and if they get in front they will frustrate us, and they'll time waste, they'll go down injured, they'll break the game up, and this is exactly what they did. And it frustrated our players, but there was a good reaction in the last sort of 20-25 minutes. I felt we started to get more of the ball, we shifted it quicker, we went forward more rather than side to side, as you said there. And first half it was a little bit tippy-tappy football, it was all too slow and nobody really broke the lines. Everyone wanted to just go back and start again, and we probably passed it back to the goalie more times than we've done it all season. And as I say, we didn't have any players out there who had an energy, we didn't have any players out there who wanted to go and fight for us in the first half. I didn't think there was probably too many players off their games, didn't win their individual personal battles, and that's why we ended up 1-0 down, because we didn't do the job properly on the goalie's kick out. We got sucked in, got done by flick on, and then we've overreacted in terms of 2 players going in. Whether it a penalty, I don't know. It's one of them I'll have to have a look at. But the lad went down quite quickly, and the referee was very quick to give it. We've had one in the second half, and he's waved that aside. So sometimes they go for you, sometimes they don't. But as I say, I don't think we worked hard enough, and we wasn't good enough in the first half to win a game of football.
It's not though as if this performance has come out of the blue. We were poor at Welling and we were not particularly inspired at home to Chippenham before the weather gave us that little break, and we haven't picked it up again since. It's not a good time to lose your form. No, it's not, and and that is something that we're concerned about, because we have gone sort of 2 weeks before, and every time we've come back into it, we have been a little bit off our game, and it's taken us a long time to get sort of going. And I say a few of the players are down a little bit at the moment, but as I've said all along, you only get out of football what you put into it, and today we haven't put enough into it. We haven't worked hard enough, and I think a few of the players have got carried away with our performances where we sit in the table, and they've got to realise first and foremost that to win any game of football you've got to work harder than the opposition, and for us to stay in the playoffs we've got to work harder than the teams we're playing against, because everybody wants to get in there, and the only way we're going to get in there is to work hard. Compete for everything we've got to do. We've got to out-battle our opponents, first individually and then as a team, and if we do that our quality will come through. But you just can't turn up and expect your quality and your technique to win your game of football, because it's very, very rarely that happens. And today, as I said to you, we've had probably 6 or 7 players that just went out there with a thought that we've only got to turn up today and we'll win the game, and that wasn't good enough. And we've spoke to them at half time, we spoke to them at the end of the game, and we've told them, and we have to liven up. As I said there, we have to be better than that. We have to be brighter than that, and we have to realise at times that football's all about working harder than the opposition, and we've got to do that better than what we've done today. If you could put your finger on why we're a bit languid at the moment, it would be sorted out quickly. Is it a mental thing, or?
I think it might be mentally that I just think sometimes when we get into this stage we are now, is that I think some players think they're better than what they are, and I think sometimes, as I said to you there, we've got to go out and play as if we're playing Dartford every single week, because sometimes I feel players don't reach the same heights against some of the teams that are below us than we do when we play the teams that are above us, and that comes from me as a manager in about making sure the players prepare properly, making sure that they're focused on what we're doing, and then we ask them to cross the white line and go and give a performance against You've seen it against Chelmsford, East Thurrock, and against Dartford, is that, you know, them teams are all around us or above us, and we put a performance in. Every time we seem to play a team that's just slightly below us or below us, we're second best for long periods, and I'm not sure if that's the mental side of it with the players, but that's down to me and Lee and the coaching staff to get into these players, to make sure that we did get it right off the pitch, and make sure that when we leave that change room and come across here before the start of the game, that everybody's focused on what they're doing. But as I say, there was probably too many before the game, wasn't really on their game. There was probably 5 or 6, 7 out there that didn't get focused on what was happening today, and by the time we realised we was in a game of football, we was already 1-0 down.
Given the recent weather, Clarence Park was in excellent condition. A couple of bad bobbles, but you're going to get back this time of year. Monday, we're due to be away to Hungerford Town. I think they played at home today. You can imagine it's going to be a bog, so if a game's on, that's going to be a battle of a different kind. Yeah,
it'll be a tough game, and we know that, and that's why I've just spoke to the players at length. I mean, I think we just sat down for 20 minutes there and spoke about what we're going to expect, and it's not only at Hungerford. We've got Concord away, who's had a game called off today. So the next 2 or 3 games all the way from home, Western, Concord and Hungerford, and it's one of them that could really make or break our season for me. You know, if we turn up like we did today and not perform and not reach a level that we've done in previous weeks, then we're going to find it very, very difficult to pick up maximum points. But, you know, we've got to focus right. We've got to plan properly, which is what we'll do every single game. We won't change from where we are. It's worked for a lot of times this season, but as I said, today we've got to question some players today, and I've not questioned any players all season. You know, as I said before, I've put a lot of faith in these players, but these players have got to realise that at some stage you have to take responsibility for your own performance. You have to take your own responsibility in terms of preparing for a game properly and making sure that you go out there and finish the game off correctly, and today we haven't done that.
We were hoping today to make it 4 wins out of 5 games, all wins at home, because the next 5 games, 4 of them are away from home. Any targets, or is it literally a case of game by game?
I think it's game by game at the moment, so it's one of them. We have to realise where we are. As I said, it's going to be tough games. We've said them all before, and we're in the playoffs, and teams are not going to let you win any game of football without working hard. So we have to go out and work harder than the opposition. Earn the right to win a game of football first and foremost, and I believe if we work harder than the opposition, we have enough quality in this team to go and win the games. And I think we showed that against teams like Dartford, who are top of the league, is that we out-battled them on the day, we outworked them, and our quality come through, and we got what we deserved. Today we haven't worked hard enough. Today we haven't got to apply ourselves properly, and everything we did today was slow, laboured, boring, side-to-side football. Nobody broke lines, nobody passed forward, nobody looked to drive across or beyond their full-backs or beyond their centre-halves, and everything was just really slow and laboured, and as I say, we've got to get back to basics first and foremost, but we've got to go and work harder than the opposition.
Looking at results elsewhere today, it's pretty much like it's been all season. There's some surprising ones, top sides dropping points, so you can have a bad day like we did and you can almost get away with it. You still stay in contention, but you don't want to leave it in everybody else's hands, do you?
Well, no, but how good would it have been if we'd have won today? So, you know, it's okay saying that we can afford to drop points and we can lose games. We can't afford to lose points, we can't afford to lose games, we can't afford to drop points. We've got to win every single game we play, and I've said it all the season, I don't see why we can't win this league. I think we have a squad here that's good enough on its day to beat any team in this league. I don't see why we can't win the league, but unfortunately we've got a group of players at the moment that when they turn up are unbelievable, when they don't turn up we're quite average. And that's what we've got to go and deal with, and it's down to me as a manager to get the best out of them every week, week in, week out, game in, game out. I still believe we can go and win the league, but we have to have a consistency about us that's going to match. When we play the top teams, we have to go and match it against some of the teams that's less than us and below us. We have to match their enthusiasm, we have to match their work rate, because if I believe that, our quality will come through and we'll win more games than we've got. But unfortunately, as I say, we have an inconsistency about us that keeps coming back and biting us on the bum. But 11 games to go, you know what we've got to do. We've got to probably go and win half of those. If we win half of those, I think we'll be in the playoffs, because there is enough teams involved in it that the more we keep involved in it, the more we're all going to play each other. So the more that stays involved, the better it's going to be. But it's going to be tough 11 games, and you know, we've got to find out if we've got the backbone to go and see it out and finish it off. And that's what I questioned the lads afterwards. Have we got the backbone to go and get in the playoffs first and foremost? And if we can do that, can we be good enough to go and win the league? But unfortunately, at the moment, dropping points like today, we've got no chance of doing that.
The squad we've got now, that's the squad that's going to see us through the running?
Well, hopefully so. We've got Harold and Lane both out at Wingate Finchley. Looks like Tom Bender's picked a bit of a calf strain up today, so we'll have to see how he is for Monday. But yeah, that's the squad we've got. We've got 1 or 2 young lads, but that's what'll see it out through to the end of the season. You know, that's where we are. We've brought Antonio in I think we've seen enough in 2 sort of 25-30 minute spells that he's going to be a good bonus for us. So it's good going forward in terms of that. But you know, if we pick too many injuries up going into the next couple of games, it's going to be tough squad wise.
Lovely, thanks so much, Ian, and good luck Monday at Hungerford Town. Saints away, as I say, there to Hungerford Town, National League South. Kick off at Bull Pit Lane is at 7:45.
Thank you.